Shalom, friends. It's Rabbi Jenny Solomon of Beth Meyer Synagogue in Raleigh, North Carolina, here with a mincha moment. It's a little later than I usually like to take a time to sit, but sometimes that happens, and the sun is staying out later as we make our way into summer. And so I had a little bit of grace time. So I wanted to share something in connection with this week's Torah portion, which I hope will be supportive to you. As many of you know, I share these teachings because they are supportive to me and because they come authentically from my spiritual practice. So what I share with you today is something that feels particularly alive for me. So I'm in one of those moments, sort of an extended moment, where emotions were running high. As many of you know, especially those in my community here in Raleigh, we held our annual meeting last night, and among the important decisions that were made included the agreement or the passing of the agreement, the contract, engagement contract for my role as a rabbi at Beth Meyer. And so as you can imagine, it was just an incredibly tense and intense time as we moved towards that big decision, which would in many ways shape the course of my own life and the life of my family, and God willing, the life of our community. So my whole, the energy running through my body, through my mind, through my heart over these last days, and you might even say weeks or months, has been very, very high. And so some moments are like that. Sometimes they're extended moments, but some moments in time are like that. And so one of the things that mindfulness practice, spiritual practice, helps me do is, first of all, just to notice sort of what the temperature is. And then with noticing, perhaps, to see if I can turn the volume down if need be, turn the temperature down, soften, not turn the volume off. I wish I could do that. I have not succeeded for more than a moment to turn the volume off, but at least to turn the volume down. So that's a little something about spiritual practice. So how do we do that in meditation? Sometimes we can use words that are helpful and sort of cue our bodies to soften, to relax. So I often use the cues of, may I feel safe, may I feel at ease. May you feel safe, may you feel at ease. But we can also just breathe. The breath is magical in that it cues the entire neurological system to sort of ratchet down and relax, because it signals that you are actually safe, right? Sometimes we get confused into thinking we're not safe, but in most instances we are actually safe. And so when we breathe, it sets into motion an entire set of messaging through the body that we are safe to be at ease. And the other is to simply just slow down, right? So the other thing that can come with breathing is just this ability, whereas thoughts and feelings normally kind of surge and rush without notice, without any awareness, when we come into greater awareness, we can hopefully cue our bodies to slow down. And then with that change in pace and with a little bit more space, we can become more aware and then make a more adaptive choice about how to proceed. But I want to connect all of this to this week's Torah portion. In this week's Torah portion, which is called Parshat Korach, there is a leader among the Israelite people. He's actually a cousin of Moshe, of Moses, and he rises up along with some of his companions, shall we say, and insists that Moses is actually not so special and that he wants to take Moses down, and that he's willing to sort of rally his crew to rebel, insurrect in a way, and take leadership of the Israelites. I would say, fast forward, it does not go well for Korach. In fact, the earth swallows him and his buddies up. But I want to suggest that we all have an inner Korach, an inner rebel. And I don't mean rebel here in a good way. I mean that we all have, put it to you this way. We don't hear very much about Korach until this week's Torah portion, if anything at all. And I have to imagine that leading up to this moment of complete insurrection, that Korach was at the very least agitating, stirring up trouble, creating dissent, to reach the moment in which this massive boiling point would come, and he would be swallowed up with his friends by the earth. And so I think that can happen in the body. Sometimes with my kids, I talk about letting out steam, like a pot of boiling water, right? We want to let out some steam before the boiling water flows out of the pot. And so we want to be able to turn the volume down, turn the temperature down as much as is possible, right? Sometimes we can't turn it down that much. That's okay. That's what it is to be human. But with our practice, we have the possibility that we can turn down the temperature just enough so that there isn't a massive insurrection, so that the inner rebellion, the inner boiling over point that ultimately leads to our own destruction, we can prevent that from happening. And I want to suggest that there's a kind of redemption point here as well. Those who are familiar with the book of Psalms know that there are numerous psalms that are attributed to the sons of Korach. So though Korach sort of disappears in this week's Torah portion because of his rebellion, his insurrection, the sons go on. And the sons actually become musicians. So whereas Korach's body is actually swallowed up, literally the text says, by the mouth of the earth, his sons go on not only to be able to use their mouths, but to sing. And in Psalm 87, it ends with a beautiful line that says, Kol ma'ayanai bach. All your springs, all your sources, all your roots are in me. And it's a reference that really, that everything is God. Everything is God. There is nothing devoid of the divine. And I want to relate that back to our feelings, to our temperature, to our inner temperature. Feeling angry is not bad. Feeling outraged is not bad. Feeling righteous indignation is not bad. That too is divine. But to use it adaptively, to use it in ways that we can ultimately create good, that we can build beauty, that we can increase dignity, that we can grow justice, that we can expand peace. The anger and the indignation that we need to do that must be tempered. And that's something we practice. That's something we can work on in concentration on our breath, with the words, may you feel safe, may you feel ease, in our prayer, in our walking, in all the ways in which we utilize our souls, really, to self-regulate, to self-modulate, so that we can be mouths of the divine. Shalom. Peace, everyone.